Week long you've waited, and now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Good morning, everybody. You are here. We are live. This is Fighting Chance Kickoff, brought to you by FightingChanceFantasy.com. Of course, my name is Kevin Tompkins, of course. And to my right, as always, my beautiful co-host and brilliant friend, Gary Haddow. Gary, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I always forget how much I like that music. And then every Sunday, here we are. I'm just like, man, that music is fire. I love the intro.
Both sets of music that we have, I feel like I'll want to run into a damn wall. Can't even lie.
Right, totally.
Like, holy crap, it's awesome. But anyway, we are not here to talk about our theme music. We are here to talk about week 7. Let's go through we have injuries to talk about. We have a little bit of weather to talk about, but more importantly, we have your start and sit questions. So if you have not gotten them to us, get them to us at KTompkinsII, at Gary Haddow1. We will get to them as we get them into the chat here. So again, thank you so much for all the support, and let's get right into things here. Gary, we've got some injuries, some recurring ones that we thought we were going to get away from. Michael Thomas with his ankle and hamstring, not disciplinary, but he's still going to be out for today's contest.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking, but we kind of just got to roll with it. It sucks anybody that went up high on him and just have had a crap season from him, but so be it. I think anybody that's in fantasy, if you have more than 3 leagues, you probably have him on a roster.
Yeah, I mean, in my 0RB build, I pretty much either started with him or Adams in a majority of them. So it's tough. It really is. But, gotta roll with the punches, and that's why you have other picks. And, it is what it is, but that just basically means for today, Traquan Smith is certainly in play today. Who else are you looking at? I am looking at one more deeper guy. I don't know how you feel about Marquez Callaway. He did get 6 targets last week, or against the Chargers, I should say. So, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I actually was looking at Harris rather than Callaway. So it's interesting. We both kind of thought, hey, who's going to be there too? Honestly, I think it's going to be the Smith one. Let's all be on the same page. It is about to be Kamara, like 25, 30 touches with Murray, especially if they get up. Murray will have a bunch of touches. I think then it's Smith, then Cook. I actually don't know if I care about even their wide receiver 2 just because of that pecking order being pretty much the 5th option. I guess 4th option because Kamara and Murray aren't going to be on the field at the same time.
Right. And also, I mean, Latavius Murray is one of my starts of the week too. I think he's primed for, I'd say a good 12 to 15 touches with a good shot at a touchdown. I think this game is going to be a nice reset for the Saints as far as defense and running the ball. Drew Brees is not going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. So even though there is a condensed target tree, I don't think it's going to be as beneficial for the receivers, tight end, whoever, as we're making it out to be. I don't think there's going to be a lot of targets to be had today.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yep. So let's look at some other injuries here, especially in the early slate. We have John Brown, who is out again with a knee injury. So I think that's going to open up things. We've seen him flash in spots here, even when all 3 Diggs, Brown, and Beasley are healthy. Gabriel Davis is in play for me today. And then, obviously we're condensing down that target tree with, the aforementioned wide receivers. Every single Bills tight end outside of Tyler Kroft is on the COVID list. Yeah. So they do have a really, really nice matchup against the Jets, but I don't think we're going to be seeing what we're seeing with the Saints as far as, Josh Allen not having to do a lot, but I still think there's some certainly beneficial fantasy goodness to be had between those 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this just really prime Stephon Diggs for a huge game. And if they can get the, not if, when they get the lead, then it's just a matter of who's going to be running out the clock. But we've actually seen the Bills not take their foot off the gas, and they've had 2 down weeks. If anything, they want to just get back up there and just reestablish their dominance, pee on the other teams or whatever it is that you establish dominance by doing. It's going to happen.
It is early in the morning, and we're talking about urinating on for societal dominance here.
Gates should be pissed on because everybody's pissed off at him. So,
oh my God, we've gone down a dark alley this morning.
But back to Gabriel Davis. I don't know. It's not something I'm particularly too interested in. I think this will be Diggs, and I think it'll be Beasley. I had thought about Tyler Kroft for a bit since he's literally the only one left standing in the tight end room.
Right.
But I don't know. Singletary, Diggs, and Beasley should be able to do more than enough. Gabriel Davis, you're really just hoping that he gets like a 40-yard touchdown, because outside of that, I don't know. I just don't see that they need him to be involved.
Right, for sure. I mean, he's found his way to assert himself, so I do like him getting some more snaps today. And then let's look at the Jets too on the other side, with Jamison Crowder pretty much being the absolute focal point of that offense now that Le'Veon Bell is gone. He will be out with a groin injury, so for me, that just screams Rashad Perryman. But in the slot, you'll see some Braxton Berrios. Just don't know he's going to have the impact that he had in earlier weeks. He was pretty much, I wouldn't say phased out, but certainly rendered fantasy irrelevant. But I think, deep shots, Rashad Perryman came back last week with 8 targets, was in the top 10 in air yards. So I think even though Crowder's a slot guy, it's just going to open up all the targets deep for Rashad Perryman. It just volume.
Yeah, I agree. And Perriman in particular, I don't know how many places you're starting him in a redraft or whatever, in season long, I meant to say. But in DraftKings, he's 3,700, and that's kind of when you're looking for that last flex and trying to figure out that under $4,000 play or something. Like, hell yeah, let's roll with what should be 8 to 10 targets.
Yeah, rock with those punt plays, man. Rashad Perryman is definitely one of them. I'm going to hit up the chat here because we got a quick question here from Montana Vandal. Big Ben Roethlisberger, or Tom Brady?
I was like, who's the third quarterback? Because you said Big Ben Roethlisberger, and I was like, wait. I'm going Big Ben. Brady, he could have a good game, but Rojo has been so good lately, and there is no need. Let me say, I do not expect there to be too much of a need, but the Raiders are sneaky. Look what they did to the Chiefs. Tampa Bay is a better defense than the Chiefs, but I'm going to go with Big Ben in what's going to be, in my opinion, the best game of the week, not necessarily for fantasy, but just overall. And that's the Steelers-Titans battle for the undefeated supremacy in the AFC.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to go the other side here. I kind of like Tom Brady here, even though just Big Ben, he really has to rely on that deep passing game, and we haven't seen much out of Juju. We've really seen just blow up weeks from Claypool. Deontay Johnson has been in and out of the lineup. So if I'm looking at target, the continuity in that offense, Brady's had a lot more of it with his receivers than Big Ben, and now this is kind of the prelude to maybe next week he'll have Antonio Brown. We'll see how long that lasts, but I'm gonna go Brady here. I've got him, I believe, I have him in my top 12. I have him at 11. I have Roethlisberger down. I think the Titans clamp a little bit, and like I said, that target continuity, I think Brady's got the edge on Ben in that department.
I can't believe you just said Chase Claypool is just blow-up games. No, Chase Claypool is just blow-up games. That's all he does, because he is super legit. Even in his down game last week, he was, 7 for 74, I think, plus a touchdown. Like, dude's legit. And Deontay, if Deontay stays healthy, that is probably one of, if not top 3 starting trio of wide receivers in the NFL.
I'm sorry, my emphatic muscles are not limber enough for this morning.
Your emphasis.
Yeah, my emphasis on the syllables. So we certainly gotta tighten up some screws here.
Yeah.
It is morning time here, 10 o'clock in the central time zone. So we'll get it. Let's talk about again, thank you, Montana Vandal, for that question. And like I said, send them on over to us at K Tompkins II at Gary Headout #1. Let's keep going with some of these injuries. So with an appendectomy, not your usual run of the mill injury that's going to knock you out, but Austin Hooper is out today. So I think that's going to open up, certainly as a punt play in DFS too, for David Njoku.
Yeah, I just have no interest. Like, I get it. I don't disagree. It's just something I just have no interest in. I would much rather say this is going to bump Landry up a little bit. This is going to get Hunt some extra targets. Yeah, I honestly don't actually know the name of the third receiver on the Browns.
Higgins.
Higgins? Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know. The only bump to this is Njoku wants to get traded. Hooper's out. Is this a showcase to get as much value as possible if they decide they're going to move on? I don't think they're going to trade him. I think they like him as a blocker. He's just a beast. He's just a big ass dude. He's just not being utilized as a move tight end.
He is certainly a grown ass man who will get, every opportunity to showcase. If they're going to, you're basically, if you're starting him, you're hoping he gets into the end zone. I mean, that's pretty much it. But I think he has a little bit of target upside too. We've seen it in spurts. It's just, now he really doesn't have a lot of competition, but this could be one of those weird games where everybody is on Njoku, and Harrison Bryant, the tight end 2 for a day, could be a guy that maybe asserts himself a little bit more. And that's how, when the door is open a crack, those are the guys that kick the door down if when the opportunity presents itself. So, you're not exactly chasing the Cleveland tight end 2, but, especially if you're in DFS, that's a punt play I really don't mind taking to get value elsewhere.
For sure.
We're getting some questions here in the chat. So again, appreciate all the questions we're getting. Start 2 out of these 4: Jamal Williams, Melvin Gordon, DJ Chark, Chase Claypool. I'm going to assume it's PPR, but I'm not sure. I'll answer. Well, I mean, we can answer for both standard and PPR.
So we'll jump ahead a little bit here with weather, and there's now looking at strong chance of snow during the Denver-Kansas City game.
Yep.
Not sure if that bumps or downgrades Melvin Gordon. I would normally say it bumps a running back a little bit, that they're going to get more touches. My concern is that, this is going to sound crazy, but Melvin Gordon is from, while he did play at Wisconsin, he's been playing for years now in San Diego and LA. I really like Chark and I really like Claypool. I would actually be going with them, even though a case can be made for Melvin Gordon. I'm not going with Jamal Williams. It's too up in the air.
I don't know that it's really up in the air as far as Jamal Williams. I have him as a top 10 play this week with, I have him as a top, I believe it's RB. Let's take a look. RB9. I have him at, I'm not sure with Dylan, if I'm looking at this from how is this Packers game going to go? Lower in the range of outcomes is just a positive game script throughout. I don't think it's going to be like that, and that would benefit a back like AJ Dillon. So if I'm looking at this neutral game script or negative game script, which is possible, Green Bay has a lot of injuries, not just defensively but offensively too, to be able to we've seen this post Bill O'Brien Houston Texans team just put up points and light up scoreboards. So it could be a little bit tougher for Green Bay to keep up with that offense. So I could see them in either neutral or negative game scripts, which would defer to Jamal Williams as a pass catch from the backfield or running the ball. AJ Dillon, I could see him with maybe 7 to 9 touches with touchdown upside in the, if they get in close. But I think it's a Jamal Williams week, 100%. So I'm starting Jamal Williams in half PPR. And on the other side, this is between DJ Chark and Claypool for me. I would also fade Melvin Gordon here because of that workload split as well. I'd probably take Claypool.
We're split. You're going Williams and Claypool. I would go Chark and either Gordon or Claypool. But you made a compelling argument for Jamal Williams. I'm actually now setting a lineup because I want to see how that goes down.
And the person who asked it is Packers 23. So, as a Packer fan myself, you can see the other way. I got to work on this thing. I don't even know my orientation. I'm not biased at all being a Packer fan. Don't get me wrong.
Not at all.
So we've got some more questions in the chat here. Our good friend Fred Stone Flint, who has been with us a bunch of weeks and always active on Twitter. Appreciate it, my friend. Full point PPR, Kenyon Drake or Jerick McKinnon. This is your time to be biased now.
I'm gonna go with Drake. I think that they're gonna use him. My concern with Drake is that if they're down, they're gonna use more Edmonds, but I fully believe that Drake put something together last week and that it's going to click a little bit more. McKinnon will get touches, don't get me wrong, but you're still going to get a dose of Wilson and Hasty in that game. So I'm going to go with Drake. I actually don't think they want McKinnon to be their ground and pound. They want him just to be their third down back. And so it's going to be Wilson, or hopefully for just my own personal sake, Hasty will get more run there. So I'm going to go with Drake.
Yeah, that's my exact line of thinking, that I don't think they're going to try to shoehorn McKinnon into being that bell cow. I think they're going to keep him comfortable in the role he's in, which is sporadic carries on the ground, but with a more PPR presence.
Yep.
And trust me, I'm with you on JaMychal Hasty, because I did say that that I think he's got a good chance to be the DeAndre Swift of this week it's a week winner. For people, it's tough because we don't know, and that's the rub. You just don't know where, and how can you really conjure up that confidence to put him in your lineup? So yeah, I would say, just if you have Kenyon Drake still, if you weren't able to make a trade and sell high on him, you got to hope that he's going to use last week's Monday night performance to build on. Build in the week forward. So I would take Kenny Drake here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Another question also, full point PPR, Tyler Higbee or pick up Njoku or Croft?
I mean, Higbee should be playing. It was just a hand issue, which you don't really need those to catch.
What?
So, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm going to honestly, in this case, I'm probably just going to go with Njoku. If you can drop someone, why not go with Njoku? He's going to be this. We believe he should be the starter. As the number 2 is just a rookie, in as the aforementioned Harrison Bryant. Tyler Croft did not have Dawson Knox playing last week or the week before, and he got two targets. So I'm too nervous about it. So Higbee or Njoku, flip a coin. And potentially, if you do see anything negative about Higbee, then if you can pick up Everett, go with Everett rather than Njoku.
Yeah, I put both Rams tight ends in my sit for the tight ends this week in my article. You can find that every Friday. Starts, sits, and sleepers on fightingchansfantasy.com. But I did sit both of those guys because you really don't know who you can start each week. And Higbee, we drafted him as a top 8 tight end in most leagues. Your confidence is already shot for the most part after that 3 touchdown game that he had against the Eagles in week 2. Yep. So, it's really tough. And I'm looking back, I believe that's more than half of his production was just in that game alone.
Yeah.
So I think, if I'm looking at between Njoku or Croft, I would say Njoku. I think the upside is much more than Tyler Croft, even though Croft is literally the last man standing. I'm not sure what the Bills are going to do as far as just grabbing depth, or I think it was one of their practice squad tight ends was also placed on the COVID list as well. So they got to sign somebody off the street likely. I don't even know what they're going to do. They might have to pull a fullback out because they're not going to be able to get him cleared in time. They might be rolling one tight end. So, go Njoku here.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Williamson Claypool. Go Pack, go. That's right. We're gonna need that today. Absolutely. More than Phil. Deontay Johnson.
A tough one.
I'm going to guess it's Deontay Johnson or
it is.
Higgins.
It has to be. And I think we're both going to be in agreement on this, even though a week ago I was not. fire up Higgins.
Right?
Yeah, go with Higgins. Deontay hasn't stayed healthy enough for us to know he's going to play a whole game. And Higgins is both Kevin and I absolutely love Higgins this week, and I'm fully coming around on him. I love him.
Yeah, T. Higgins has just asserted himself within Cincinnati offense. I think, we're going to see a lot more from him as the weeks go on. I think he has a real chance to be a top 24 receiver to end the season. So definitely like T. Higgins here, going forward here, especially after over Deontay Johnson, who you don't know how many snaps he's going to last. I mean, the last 2 weeks he's gone in, I think he's had 0.2 and 0.8 points in PPR and has left the game and hasn't come back in. So you really want to see him play a full game, even though some people you can't help it. Buys are here. So it's either that or having to pick up, Marcus Callaway from the Saints. Yeah. So it's tough. So let's get into some more of these injuries. And we did talk about a little bit, Aaron Jones is likely out for the Pack. There hasn't been definitive word. Aaron Jones said he wanted to give it a go, but I think the team is going to overrule him and be cautious with a calf strain. So I am going to just go under the assumption that Aaron Jones is out today, but we will get official word in about 20 minutes, whether that is the case, and we'll certainly bring that to you as we get it. But we did go into pretty good detail regarding Jamal Williams, his replacement, and A.J. Dillon as well. And then for Cincinnati, another injury to the running back with a foot injury, Joe Mixon. So this puts the worst mustache in football into play, Giovanni Bernard. Man, he's got to shave that thing. But so how are you feeling about Gio Bernard as a fantasy play today? What are you expecting from him? I think the workload is pretty secure for him.
Yeah, I think it's secure. I'm just nervous. We haven't really seen him pop. I feel like we're still living back in 2018, 2019, where when he came in, I think it was even 2018, and it was like he was an RB1 auto start, like don't even question it. And since then, like I think he's had one touchdown on the year, and I don't know. His mustache creeps me out. I think it's a Higgins game. I think it's a Boyd game. I really like Burrow this week. Like for me, the upside of Bernard isn't his rushing; it's going to be his receiving because we've seen him used as a pass catching back already. So He's a back end RB2, higher end RB3 for me. I'm not touching him in DFS. I think too many people are going to go towards him thinking that he's just going to be the auto pickup, and obviously for that reason, I hope that I'm right and and don't end up getting screwed there, but.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I put him into my ranks. Let me take a look here. RB27. So I have him just outside my RB2s. It's a solid matchup for him. But there have been a few rumblings about the rebirth of Samaje Perine coming back in to take third down. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, as my I'm not going to post that picture, but it's everywhere.
It's so creepy, dude. He's a 70s porn star.
He looks like somebody that would be in the interrogation room in SVU. It's just so bad.
It's very true.
But yeah, so as far as, you got Samaje Perine, you've got potentially Travion Williams. Everybody's been talking about him, but he still hasn't seen a snap yet in the NFL. So I would say the workload is pretty secure outside of, just random spells here. But who knows? That's when you see those Bo Scarboroughs and those Ty Johnsons that we saw last year just kind of come from nowhere and get 20 carries. So, we'll see. But Gio I would say, is a pretty good lock for at least 15 touches.
Yes, agreed.
Yep. And then we've covered all the early game injuries. Let's go into some of the later ones. We have Raheem Mostert is back on IR with an ankle injury. So we did talk about it a little bit before with Jeff Wilson and then also JaMychal Hasty, possibly getting some work in behind Jerick McKinnon. Also, actually, before I get into more, I have one more question in the chat here. James White or DeAndre Swift?
This is my beloved Tessa, my wife's best friend, and I think we both agree on this. DeAndre Swift, not only is this a game where they're going to be going back and forth, just marching up and down the fields because their defenses suck, they use Swift intentionally after the bye, and they were up and they still went to him. It was so promising. The problem is that Matt Patricia is a D, and I just have no idea what the hell he's going to do. James White, if you're really banking on the Niners being really good, I'm saying it the opposite way, that, I think James White will be involved, and I'm kind of hoping that he is, but I'd rather bank on Swift because, hell, this could be a Burkhead game.
Yeah, especially neutral game script. If it's as competitive as I'm not really sure about actually that game script. I think, James White right now is their best receiver. I trust him. He's probably the only non-Cam Newton piece of that team I trust, and that includes Edelman. So I think James White's going to have a very prominent role, but I do think Burkhead is going to find himself involved too. But it's DeAndre Swift. I think that the Lions are going to make, like you said, a more concerted effort to get him rolling after the game he had last week. I think you can't deny it at this point.
Yep.
So let's get into some more of the chat. Our good friend Axel Jansen, who is here with us every week. Appreciate it, my friend. Hello. Antonio Gibson, or this is not a 1-800 or 1-900 number, Gary. We can't, not yet. We can't charge by the minute.
Soon enough. I'm going with Gibson. I mean, Kelly, again, you're going game script. You're hoping that Justin Jackson isn't playing or is banged up, and Gibson, that he should be getting the bulk of the touches. So give me the sure thing rather than waiting. I don't think those games are at the same time, right? Aaron Jones officially is inactive. Perfect. So, that's a big blow to Green Bay if they want to stay in that game against the Houston Texans. So, back to the question, Antonio Gibson or Josh Kelly. I think you have to go with Gibson here. I think, Justin Jackson, that is something to look out for too. That's going to be a late game, so that's going to be a little bit tougher to kind of prognosticate, but Justin Jackson is questionable with a knee injury. They did log a full practice on Friday, so that's encouraging for his availability. But yeah, I would go Gibson here. I think that's pretty safe for workload. As if he's going against a good defense, right?
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, moving on.
Oh, no, it's all good. So one more thing I really wanted to talk about is Sammy Watkins is going to be out with a hamstring injury. So how are you approaching Demarcus Robinson? I think we talked a little bit about this on Fighting Chance Live, but in case you missed it, let's go into that just a little bit here before we get into more start-sit questions here. Wide receiver 3. Yes, it's going to be a little bit. There's snow in the forecast. While I do think that does tend to favor the running backs, it's not really until the ball is wet. If it's wet and muddy and whatever, I think that's when it really starts to impact the receivers and quarterback. It might dip in the air yards a little bit. I don't know. What are you thinking? I'm just going off on a soapbox here, apparently.
I'm expecting you're probably not starting him outside of like a flex 2 situation because you probably have other guys. There are just so many good matchups this week. I am starting him in like Scott Fish and a couple other places. I think I've thrown him into some DFS, and just in the event, like the Broncos defense is better than I think we remember, because we think of what they were and how good they were and then how crappy they were, but now they're somewhere in the middle, and it's a division game, so those are always weird, plus the weather, like you said. So I think Kelsey is going to be the primary read. I think Robinson, you're flipping a coin, it's going to be Robinson or a Hardman game, but Robinson had a nice target floor, so I am comfortable starting him as something as a flex 2 if I have to, but I'm hopefully not in that position. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I have to start. It's not a Braxton Berrios from a few weeks ago with you. It's something where if I have to start him, at least I'm confident that he'll get some targets.
Right. I'm not going out of my way to start him, but in a pinch, you can do worse because there's clear and obvious upside there. It's just that versus what you have on your roster. Is it worth it to chase that upside?
Exactly.
Yep. So I'm trying to take a look at some more of these inactives, and they are starting to filter in here. I think that might have been the first domino as far as Aaron Jones. So, what say you? Let's actually, you know what? Before we do that, a couple questionable items here. Sam Darnold with a shoulder. He is likely to play today. So the Flacco experiment we hope is shelved at least for a little bit here.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect too many things here. I'd say maybe it boosts the floor of a Perryman here versus having Flacco out there, but you're not going out and starting Sam Darnold outside of two desperate quarterback leagues or super flex.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Jordan Akins is questionable with an ankle and concussion. Doesn't seem like it's. I think he's off for the concussion, so I will update that. But he's still on there for the high ankle, so I think it's a Darren Fells week. I think Akins is still trending downward. I don't think he's going to be playing today. We will see in a little bit here, but if you can do much worse than Darren Fells at your tight end, I'm starting him in a couple spots myself, and we've seen what he can do. When given the opportunity, is the sole starter.
I really like him actually. He is high for me. So he's higher than Robert Tonyan, which was a question I was going to ask you. With Robert Tonyan being banged up, I would rather go with Fells, especially if Jair is going to be on Fuller. We know that we're both expecting Cooks to have a big game, so I think that that's going to leave Darren Fells to be kind of their red zone weapon, as we've seen Watson do quite a bit.
Yeah, I like Cooks just a little bit today. Only a little bit. I still have Tonyan over Fells, but I have Fells in my top 12. So clearly like both. If Tanyan's playing, which he is questionable as well, but is trending toward playing. Fells is a quality start against, Green Bay's linebackers and safeties have really been banged up for most of the year. Now they're operating with an undrafted free agent, and they're supposed to get mid-round pick Kamal Martin back, so that could add something into the linebacker corps, but it's relatively untested. So I think that's something where Darren Fells can just run through the seam, and I think he's got a couple big gains in his pocket today from a clearly hot and thriving Deshaun Watson post Bill O'Brien.
Let's jump to some of these questions since they're starting to stack up.
Hit them up.
So for my buddy Chubb, he's looking at Herbert, Rodgers, or Stafford. Pick one. I think we're in agreement, but I don't know. I am all about Justin Herbert this week. There are a few quarterbacks that I like more than him. Yeah,
it's kind of wild that everybody was out on Herbert in the offseason, like, oh, when's he really gonna play? Justin Herbert, he's just gonna be another bust, and now he's probably taking over for Burrow as the top fantasy rookie quarterback. It's close between the two, certainly. I still have Rodgers over Herbert, but not by much. I have Herbert in my top 8. So both are great starts. Stafford's in there as well too. So I'm sorry, I have Herbert at 9. I have Stafford over him too. You can't go wrong with any of these guys. I'd take Rodgers over Herbert or Stafford though.
Interesting.
Yeah. All three have upside for 300 yards, three or more touchdowns.
But who has downside for below 300 yards? And I know it's a silly question, but so far,
honestly,
4 out of 5 starts, Herbert's been over 300 and multiple touchdowns.
I'd say the most downside of these three is Stafford, honestly.
Agreed.
We've seen Atlanta, Atlanta kicked ass and Cousins had to come back in garbage time mode, and that's how he got a lot of his stat line last week. So, I think Atlanta is motivated, post this narrative of the posts insert fired head coach here. So I think Stafford has the most downside, but the upside is undeniable with all three. Let's go to the next question here. Denzel Mims, Deontay Harris, or Cam Sims? We got a deep cut here for PPR.
I'm going with Deontay Harris just because I trust the quarterback the most.
Denzel Mims is likely to start today, but it's really, really, really tough to put any sort of confidence in a rookie starting his first NFL game on a god awful team like the Jets. Yeah. Geez, I almost want to say Cam Sims, but I would go
Sims get a
Harris.
Touchdown last week, I think. So that's like the one reason to kind of will they go back to him?
Yeah, I would probably go Deontay Harris too. Boy, I hope your league has return yardage.
I was about to exactly. If they do, then definitely. But I don't know how many leagues do that anymore.
I think Draft with Giants does too. I drafted
DWG
him.
Does. They're like super high in DWG. It's crazy.
Yeah, like Nicole Harbin was like a 4th round pick because of that, and I don't even think he's in the return game.
Yep. Totally.
So it's tough, but yeah, I would go Deontay Harris. So even outside of return yardage leagues, let's go to Axel again with Anthony Ferkser, David Njoku, or Gerald Everett in standard.
Ferksker's not even an option in my opinion. John is back. He's playing healthy. That was just a byproduct of they saw something and they exploited a matchup and fucking amount of money that we would have won if John had just been playing. Probably Njoku. He's going to be the one that has the position to himself. Everett, if Higbee's out, but I don't actually know in those games what times they are. So if they're staggered times, then I'm going to go with Njoku.
Yeah, I think actually, well, the Rams are playing Monday. I think the other two are early. I go give me the Joker. I'm sure somebody's called him that, and it sounded good in my head. I'll take Njoku.
The new Joker.
That's right. This Tunyon, like Funyon.
My apologies. Just heard that on the ball at the end of the day.
It's kind of just as an aside, this is something apparently he's let this go for a couple of years and hasn't said anything. I don't know how you do that, honestly.
It's the same thing with Tyrod Taylor.
It's not Kevin Tompkins, it's Kevin Tumpkins. That's gonna get me made fun of if I were in high school, I guess.
When Tyrod was like, "Oh no, it's Tyrod," and it's like, "You've been in the league for 8 years,"
or Terrell or Terrell Owens.
So,
yeah. We're going off the rails today. Like this has been it's beside Anyway, T Higgins or DJ Chark in standard.
This is tough for me. I'm gonna go with Chark here just because he's a little bit more tried and tested, but they're very close to each other for me. Yeah,
I go with DJ Chark as well. But both are good. If you can find a way to get him in your lineup, I think we say this almost every week when we have a start sit like this, and then Axel will come back with, I have, Keenan Allen and Tyreek Hill and Calvin Ridley. So but it's very close. I had them just a couple spots, away from each other, but I think I'd start DJ Chark, even though he has a tougher matchup. 14 targets last week. If he's going to get that again, he's likely to convert on at least half of them. So, that's 7 catches right there. I think we did go through this. Allen Robinson and Devontae Adams are his other wide receivers. So
I wanted to just add something. So Dallas at Washington is going to have rain. They're expected to be 44 degrees. This is from Fantasy Life. And with some winds, nothing crazy. The main thing is the Washington football field has always been known to be a pretty bad place when the conditions are bad. So just kind of something to watch out for. We still love McLaurin. We still love Zeke. I love Gibson. I probably like Gibson even more knowing that it is going to be some rain. And the Washington defense, if you're doing DFS, they're crazy cheap, $2,500 on DK.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's going to be Dalton getting sacked. I don't know if Chase Young is back, but that defensive line is solid. So, yeah,
if Chase Young were there, it's just icing on the cake. Dalton's a statue. Well, he shouldn't say a statue, but he's not, he's not spry. So, that definitely a good play as far as the defense goes, a cheap defense. Let's got some more questions for you. Let me pull them up.
Too. Okay,
you go ahead.
Fant or Tunyon?
Tunyon.
Yeah, I was going Fant until the snow. Below 20 degrees is when games start to actually have an impact. So it's going to be 18. I mean, the one reason I'm less concerned, Denver and Kansas City are two of the colder places to play in the NFL. They're a little bit more used to it, but this will be the first very cold game of the season, I think, for both of them. And there is an adjustment period that comes with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Let me Johnny Smith or Jimmy Graham.
Jonnu, no.
No.
Just okay. Jonnu. I mean, Jonnu is everything that we hoped he would be sans his injury. Like anybody who bet on him this season has been ecstatic with the results. So pick one: Fuller, Chark, Boyd, or Higgins.
Fuller, Chark, Boyd, or Higgins. Fuller.
Interesting. Not Chark. You're not concerned about Jair? Come on, man.
No. Peep the helmet. No, all it takes is one with Fuller. I mean, all it takes is one lapsed or misstep. I mean, that's Will Fuller's game right there. So I think he can make his week with one catch. Like I said, Houston's in, like Denver, in DGAF mode. Don't give a fuck. So, I mean, they're just throwing the ball. Will Fuller, it's hard to, yes, he's going up against PFF's top corner in Jair Alexander, but all it takes is one. I still have Fuller, I believe, he's number 11. He's wide receiver 11 for me still this week. So I still like Fuller.
I'm going Chark, Higgins, Boyd, Fuller. Fuller's at the bottom. Jair Alexander's so damn good. I don't I'm not messing with that. Even they can move him around. That's fine. But I think Jair has the speed and the combo to be able to shadow and go wherever Fuller goes. And that's why Kevin and I are both so high on Brandon Cooks. If Brandon Cooks doesn't hit this week, it's going to suck for DFS.
Yeah, it is. Oh man.
I just have him almost, I looked at it. I think I have him in 80% of my lineups.
I'm going to look like the biggest chump because I have him. I'm going to look at it right now, but I've moved him up over Fuller to wide receiver 9 this week.
Yeah.
And just to give you some context on Fantasy Pros expert consensus, the average wide receiver 29.
Yeah.
So let me also look, I have him.
For anybody listening, it's because Desmond King is out, who was their number 2 corner. Kevin King, sorry.
Yeah. So they're running with Josh Jackson this week. Okay, so people are starting to get in on him, but I have him five spots over the next highest guy.
Yeah.
So I have one more question in the chat here.
Yeah.
Axel, again, with Rams defense or the Washington football team?
I'm going with the Rams. I do like both of them. I think that the Washington football team is more of a DFS play, whereas the Rams is your actual in-season play. The Rams aren't going to kill you. Washington could just get destroyed. Like Dalton is a good quarterback and Zeke is fantastic. Like that offense is still good. It's just not as good as it was. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. I would certainly take the Rams defense over Washington, and that's something I really didn't obviously correlate together. So yeah, for a DFS standpoint, Washington is a punt play, certainly. Rams defense probably more apt to give you, interceptions, turnovers, etc. on Nick Foles and that very narrow Chicago Bears target tree there. I think they can do some work here. I think the Bears are really smoke and mirrors anyway, a bit. So I think they're due for some regression back to the mean. That's going down. So I would go with the Rams here. And then Marvin,
do you need to ask? Do you need to ask Axel? What do you think the answer is going to be?
It rhymes with Trandon looks.
Yeah, Schmanden books.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks, dude, we're gonna be all over that. DJ Moore, it's understandable that you might want to put him there. I think he does have a good matchup because he's not going to see Lattimore. He'll probably see, I think, PJ Williams. Trey, he also has these guys are all Marvin Jones isn't. But the other three are all solid starts. But Brandon Cooks has the highest upside.
Yep, agreed. And if I screw you over on your Brandon Cooks picks, you all can send your hate mail to @KTompkinsII. And I will probably not read it. Or I will have my assistant look at it and delete it.
You know you've made it when you start getting hate mail.
I got a little bit this week, actually. I think I shared it on Twitter. It was about something.
Oh, that was just from me.
Well, what?
Just kidding.
I mean, I wouldn't have graded out. I mean, I didn't even realize. I know you had a burner.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple here.
All right.
Ruggs, Chenault, or Peterson? Half point.
Oh, man. Ruggs. I don't feel super great about it. I don't feel super great about anybody on the Raiders today.
I said Visca, Ruggs, AP in that order because I like that Visca will be used in around and whatnot. Even if he gets 5 for 50, I'm comfortable with that. Whereas Ruggs, who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think Peterson's out completely. I don't know. I mean, for fantasy wise, so I'm just gonna go with the upside. I think Ruggs has more upside right now than Chenault. Don't get me wrong. I love Visca.
That makes sense.
But I think I just want to see him. I just don't with Chark and the way they spread the ball around. We saw Keelan Cole have a blow up game. It's gonna be one of those guys really just showing out. And then maybe a middling game from the second. Then the third is going to not disappear, but you're not going to be wanting to start that third guy. So I would just kind of defer to Chenault until we know that, if Keelan Cole's out of the picture, whatever the case may be. But I'm still not as confident in Chenault going forward.
And if you're listening, because I can't remember who asked this, I have to find him on Twitter. Like, if it's Jamal Williams you're probably going with Jamal Williams. I think that should be, I'm going to put that up here. I mean, because your or probably wasn't somebody that you were too sure whether or not you wanted to start.
Gotcha. So we got a couple on Twitter here I appreciate as well. Joe Burrow or Drew Brees?
Joe Burrow. I'm nervous that Drew Brees just isn't going to throw that much.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to throw that much either. And then also, would you start Chase Edmonds? He has Kenny Drake over Debo or James White, 12-team PPR.
No, I would not start Edmonds over either of them.
Okay. Who would you start out of Debo or James White?
I'd flip a coin. I don't know. Like it's hard for me to answer the question objectively. I want to say Debo.
I'm taking James White, I think, over Debo. But I say like that's both. Fairly close.
I like both in the range, and I think that for both to be successful, the other one is involved. Meaning, like Debo being successful means James White is probably going to be involved because the Niners are doing well. And for James White to be involved, that probably means that the Panthers are passing a lot because they have to, and it's not a Damian Harris game. Therefore, Debo is involved. So I don't know. Hopefully that logic makes sense.
I hear you. I feel you. So I got a couple more questions here. Josh Jacobs or Gio Bernard?
Josh Jacobs or Gio Bernard? Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is back to being just a normal start. Like it's against a tough offense. Like defense, that's it. But he's back to being just Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, and I will say too, they will have their offensive line back.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying he's nothing abnormal. At this point, you're starting him. Don't get cute.
It bears discussion though, considering what the Buccaneers have done to every other running back outside of. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had 59 yards, and that's the best output that a rusher has gotten on them this year. And they play, so I think they're really good at taking away. They are clear and far away the number one defense in defensive adjusted value. So I think that's something to certainly consider. Buccaneers defense has been the best in football in terms of that. So I think Josh Jacobs is really down my rankings. I have him just outside of my top 24. So I would.
You're going Gio, but you don't want to say it.
Yeah. I would go Geo. I think you can get a little bit more out of him. You're really banking on Josh Jacobs getting catches in the backfield, in maybe not garbage time, but as they, try to just catch up a little bit. And that's really what you're hoping for. They're not going to be running the ball. I think Tampa's going to be up big and stay up big.
Yeah. Yeah. I just,
the thesis
this is a start your studs question.
Yes.
Like eliminate the names. This is a start your studs question. You start a stud against a stout defense or the other guy who's just going to have some opportunity. And 9 out of 10 times you're pissed off you didn't start your stud. But when you were wrong and you knew you should have started Geo, but you put in Jacobs, I think that hurts even more.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And there's a reason why you drafted these guys in the first or second round too. So, you got to bank on the talent at some point. There's that line where, you just have to start your studs. I mean,
yep.
Is Geo the line? He's close. Kyle Juszczyk. Dario is the spelling bee is not until the end of the season, actually.
I was going to force you to Gumbawala was going to be yours, but I thought
I would have done it too.
I thought it might be too easy, but also anyway.
Juszczyk would have been and
Juszczyk's the answer in this. I don't even know who the heck Dexter Williams plays for. Is it still the Packers?
Yeah, Dexter Williams. He got called up. He's their third running back and might get some touches today.
He's done nothing with them ever. He's not
right.
He's never had a good game before.
Yeah, you're not picking him up to be get ahead of the game or be cute. I mean, the only reason you pick him up is based on injury and if he's cemented into touches. I mean, it's the second year in the system, so I'm not too, invested in him. I would take Juszczyk here. You're going to get a couple catches out of him, maybe a touchdown out of the backfield. That's really all you're hoping for.
And excuse my little narrative here for 1 second, but I think the Patriots-Niners game is very much a Belichick versus Shanahan. What are they going to do for Belichick to scheme up against Jimmy, the one that got away, the handsome one that got away, whatever it is. I think that Juice is going to be used. He had a couple plays where he was streaking last week and they were bad throws. He had, I think, like a 35-yarder that Jimmy just did not make a good throw on. So his time is coming, and he's going to have one of those just ridiculous fullback games that beats the likes of Alec Ingold.
Yeah, we will indeed see if the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Let's get into some rapid fire questions here because I got a bunch here for you. Tim Patrick or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson.
Really?
Yeah, it's snowing, all that stuff. Like Tim Patrick, he's going over 100 each game. That's fine, but I don't know. I just get nervous.
Give me the new Cortland Sutton over Deontay Johnson.
Fair enough.
I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with Deontay either. I mean, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to play in more than 5 snaps.
Yep, I agree.
Go ahead.
I don't think that it's a wrong decision to go with Tim Patrick. I like the upside of Deontay.
Yeah, I like new Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton 2.0, potentially. Jamal Williams or Melvin Gordon? Simple for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with Jamal. Those guys are probably. It just feels weird to do.
Keelan Cole or Cole Beasley? Battle of the Coles.
Oh, Cole Beasley.
Oh, Keelan Cole. You could have just said Cole, and we would have been good with that.
We were just going with Cole. Yeah, Cole. Pick 2. CEH, DJ Moore, James Robinson. So who do you sit out of CEH, DJ Moore, and James Robinson? So really, who do you sit, Moore or Robinson?
Robinson.
Woo, okay.
It's a little tough.
It's a little tough.
Why? Are you sitting DJ Moore? It's a coin flip between Robinson and Moore, honestly. It's basically who do you like in a tough matchup.
So again, the guy who asked me this question said he was also considering sitting David Montgomery and putting in DJ Moore, and I said yes. Put in all 3 and sit David Montgomery. That was where I ended up.
Yeah, that's rather interesting.
Ooh.
Let me take a look here. Saints D or 49ers D?
I'm going to go with Saints D because Cam can run and the Niners don't do well with mobile quarterbacks, but also Saints are coming off a bye going against their former QB. I want to see what happens there. I think this might be a get right game for the Saints defense. We see it every year with them.
Yeah, very true. Hayden Hurst or Dalton Schultz?
Hayden Hurst. Go for the game that's just going to have a higher over-under.
Oh boy, we're getting dusty.
I know it's deep here.
Yeah, James O'Shaughnessy, Taysom Hill. We got to go with Logan Thomas here. I would think it's just bank opportunity here.
Yeah, Logan Thomas for sure. O'Shaughnessy is only a deep DFS play, and I think you mean Josh Hill. But there's Taysom Hill considered a tight end also.
Taysom Hill is I guess if you want to look at him, is that the tight end 3?
Is that? But does he have a designation? No, he's still on platform. Okay, yeah, Sleeper, I think you're talking about Josh Hill.
On Sleeper, he's a tight end. He's listed, so you can put him in your.
Oh, he is. Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. So never mind. Okay. My apologies.
How dare you? Rashad Perryman or Michael Gallup?
Rashad Perryman.
I talked into him. Devin Singletary or Gio Bernard?
Gio? I don't know. I don't have any idea what to do with Devin Singletary. I'm starting him this week because I have like 4 guys out, and I'm still not excited about it. Like I'm starting Singletary over Jackson and Kelly because I don't know how to split them up.
Yeah, I'm starting Kelly in a couple leagues pretty much because I have to, so it's going to be tough. Tight end premium, Noah Fant or Christian Kirk? We don't make things easy here.
Probably Fant.
Yeah, I would go with Fant too. I think you know what you're getting more out of him versus Kirk. But yeah.
If Kyler had hit on his 2 targets to Isabella last week, we wouldn't have seen anything from Kirk. He would have done like a 2 for 23 stat line, but they didn't hit with Isabella. I think that they want to try and get that going.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. Hi, Ewan. Hi, buddy.
He can't hear you, but he says hi.
Hi, buddy.
AJ Dillon or Justin Jackson or both and sit McKinnon.
I'm not sitting McKinnon. I'd take Justin Jackson. I mean, Dillon's too hard. You can't really, unless you're just absolutely out of options. I don't think you can realistically play AJ Dillon today.
Yeah, I agree.
A couple more here very quickly, and we'll get out of here. Jared Goff or Cam Newton?
I guess Cam. I think that they're pretty close to even. I think they both have capped upsides.
Yeah,
I think you're going for Cam because it was rushing, but not for his passing. Other than
and I think he'll probably get a decent shot to run into like 200 yards. And with the Cam, if he's got the rushing upside, you're happy with that 200 yards too. That's the thing. Flex.
The last one. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. I got one last one that just came in, and that's 1.5 PPR for tight ends. Tunyon or Juju?
Tunyon. That's not even a thought, which is sad.
It's crazy.
Where have you gone, Juju? We love you. We want you to succeed. This is my cry. I'm not crying. This is my non-crying cry to you. We want you in our lineups. I will rip this from this video and tweet this at you. We want you. I probably won't do that, but yeah, that's all I got. I got one more and we can get out of here.
All right.
DeAndre Swift or DJ Chark? Got him.
I'm doing the DJ Chark chunk. DJ Chark. Do.
If Ryan Howell was watching that, he's doing that too.
I'm going with DJ Chark, but I like them both. Curious who you have to sit.
Yeah, I don't want to sit either guy. I'm probably going to go ahead and sit Chark. pains me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Antonio Gibson, James Conner.
James Conner, but I like them both. I kind of like Gibson's floor more than Connor's.
I have Conner in my top 5. Yeah, he's my RB5 this week.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's a little bit after 11 o'clock. Let's say we pack up shop and get off stream here. But again, thank you so much for the questions. Appreciate everybody and appreciate the support we've gotten. 7 weeks of this. I mean, this is fantastic. I love hopping on here every Sunday morning answering some of these questions from all you people. So again, thank you so much. If you have more questions, send them to us on Twitter at KTompkinsII, at GaryHeadout1. We will head out. Good luck in your week 7 this week.
I will be on the road for the next hour. So if you have questions, just include Kevin and I.
Yeah, absolutely. Or send them through DM, whatever you got to do. We'll try to answer them as quick as we can. Yeah.
For sure.
Anything else, Gary?
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Chubb, Fred, Axel.
Everybody, absolutely. Thank you so much. And